Hey, you guys, Erin here back with another moon update for you. We are having our first full moon of 2022 coming up this Monday, January 17th at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. This full moon takes place in the sign of Cancer, 27 degrees Cancer. So what this means is, for those of you who are new to my recordings, this is like the peak of the growth cycle for this Cancerian energy that we've experienced over the last 6 months since we had a new moon in the sign of Cancer. Okay, so how have we grown in these Cancerian ways? This is a time to embrace this. So the sign of Cancer, this is the cardinal water sign. That cardinal energy is great to give it force. It's like got the energy to, go do what it's got to do. But that water element does bring some strong emotions in with this energy. In fact, the sign of Cancer is ruled by the moon, and the moon is who influences our moods and our emotions and our intuition. On that note, the sign of Cancer, yes, it has strong emotions, but it also has a very, very heightened intuition. And when the moon is in her fullest form in the sign of Cancer, all of our intuition is going to be heightened. But there is also a tendency for heightened emotions as well. That's something we're all going to want to pay attention to, maybe be a little empathetic towards each other. I know a lot of people are very easily triggered right now. So let's just be responsible with our words, especially because Mercury's in retrograde. This is an emotional energy for sure. But that sign of Cancer, it's also, well, the motto for the sign of Cancer is I feel. This energy feels others' energy. It really can even take on other people's energy. It's very much associated with the mother, okay? The mother who is going to be nurturing, but she's also got a very heightened intuition, especially when it comes to those who she loves and cares about. So that's this energy, but it is also represented by the crab that has a very hard shell. It's like so nobody can penetrate that shell to get to its very soft, sensitive, squishy insides. Okay. So energy, it's like you might not notice. In fact, the sign of Cancer can come with these mood swings because the emotions are going on in here, but it's wearing this hard shell to not let anybody know. That's that sign of Cancer. So let's all pay attention to that. But really, how have you grown in these ways? And a lot of this depends on how this is affecting your own natal chart. Because of course we experience this as a collective, but also so incredibly uniquely. It depends on where the sign of Cancer comes through your own natal chart. Like, for example, this comes through my 8th house. Not only that, but it's very strongly conjunct my own natal moon and Mars in the sign of Cancer. So this is definitely going to be, I can prepare myself for some strong emotions, but coming to the 8th house is a very, very transformational energy. And there is a lot of transformational energy going on. I'm going to break all that down. But also, like, what kind of collections are being made with other celestial bodies in your natal chart? What do you have at 27 degrees in your natal chart? That's why I offer these 10-minute moon readings to let you know what area of your life these new moons or these full moons are going to manifest for you and what kind of connections are being made with other celestial bodies to help you flow through these things with ease and grace, and also to help you manifest your dreams into reality. Okay, so let's just actually share the screen now and break down this full moon in Cancer, because it is definitely a very powerful one. All right, so for starters, I work with geocentric Western astrology. That said, what we do is we put Earth right here in the middle of this thing. And these guys right here, this is basically like a snapshot of the heavens for January 17th at 3:47 p.m. Pacific time. These are all the celestial bodies. Like here's Neptune, Jupiter, Saturn, Mercury, here's the sun. And these little symbols right here, which are probably very challenging to see if you're on a little screen, but they're the symbols for the zodiac signs that these celestial bodies will be beaming through at this time, okay? So this right here is the moon, and we can see it's at 27 degrees. This right here is a symbol for the sign of Cancer, and to be specific, 50 minutes, okay? So 27 degrees Cancer, this actually puts us in the third decan of that Cancerian energy, which gives a little twist of Piscean energy. And we also have Neptune and Jupiter going through Pisces. So we are receiving an abundance of Pisces energy as well, which Pisces can also be very, very emotional, but also very, very intuitive. This is something else that's going to, especially with Jupiter and Neptune going through Pisces, our intuition is just going to be in like full effect for this full moon, but also the intensified emotions, but also some very in-depth spirituality on so many levels. In fact, that's the next thing I'm going to talk about. This right here is the sun. You can see they are opposite each other. This is what happens when we have a full moon. The sun and the moon are at opposite sides of the zodiac. The sun is going to be at 27 degrees Capricorn and Pluto is going to be at 26 degrees Capricorn. That said, they are very, very close together, the sun and Pluto. Okay. So when any two celestial bodies are right next to each other, what they do is they end up blending together and sort of working as one. So the sun rules our vital force. I mean, the sun is the brightest light in the sky and it's going to shine light on whatever it's near. Pluto is the ruler of the underworld and actually has a very strong influence on our psyche. Okay, so that's something else we can take into consideration. Not only is this an emotional energy, but the psyche can definitely be affected. This is also, Pluto can also enhance a strong spiritual drive. Like Mars is our physical drive. Pluto can enhance our drive for spiritual transformation. So this is something, that's the quality of this. We can really, really focus on a very powerful transformational process, depending on especially where this is happening in your own natal chart. But there's something else I really need to mention here that has a lot to do with transformation. And that is, okay, let's touch on these nodes for a minute. This right here is the north node. This right here is the south node. The north node is where the tides come in. The south node is where the tides go out. Okay, the celestial energy comes in through the north node, out through the south node. Now they have been transiting. The north node has been, they're almost always in retrograde. It's like the north and south node basically move backwards through the zodiac. Okay. So the north node has been moving backwards through the sign of Gemini. We've been receiving a ton of Gemini energy for the last year and a half through that north node. And the south node has been retrograding, going backwards through the sign of Sagittarius. It's like that's the drain point. We've been releasing a ton of Sagittarius energy that has a lot to do with faith. A lot of people losing faith. I've mentioned that in other videos. But these nodes change zodiac signs the day after this full moon. And so I'm going to move forward today and show you what's going on with that, because this is actually kind of a profound energy here. So the north node is going to move into the sign of Taurus, which it works very, very well here. The south node is going to move into the sign of Scorpio. It works very, very well here. By the way, the north and south node are always opposite each other. They're never going to be anywhere else than opposite each other. That's where the north node energy comes in, south node is where energy goes out, and that's how they're always opposite each other, because that's where the tides go. So sign of Taurus actually has a lot to do with where food goes into the body, and the sign of Scorpio has a lot to do with where stuff goes out of the body. This is basically like the north and south node are working very, very comfortably because the energy is coming in through the sign of Taurus. Taurus likes that. The energy is going out through the sign of Scorpio. Scorpio likes that. So we can be flushing energy out, and they're going to be going through these zodiac signs for the next year and a half. So again, this is so good to understand your natal chart, to know where sign of Scorpio and Taurus come through your natal chart, to understand where your energy is going to be coming in and where to be letting go of what's not serving you. And going back to this Sun conjunct Pluto, very good time for releasing energy that does not work for you. And it may be a very emotional process with this full moon in Cancer, but this is a very good time to focus on that. Again, it's very just a prominent transformational process. Not only that, but the Sun and Pluto, they're going to be making a very harmonious connection up to the north node, basically to flow like gracefully with where the energy comes in, and then an opportunistic connection with the south node where the energy goes out. So it's like it's in harmony to embrace fresh new energy through that sign of Taurus, and opportunistic to let go of the things that are no longer serving you. Okay. So, and again, I can't reiterate this enough. It's so helpful to understand, again, especially just this nodal transit alone, to understand where that sign of Taurus and Scorpio, the signs of Taurus and Scorpio come through your natal chart, because that's a big one. Now, going back to this full moon here, Let's see here. Okay, we've got Mercury right here is going to be in retrograde. Okay, now this tends to affect people in very different ways. For myself, I've never really been affected by Mercury retrograde, but I know it affects a lot of people in some big ways. Mars retrograde, that one always gets to me. But the Mercury in retrograde, not the greatest time to, have a business meeting or have a very important conversation. However, the sign Mercury is going through the sign of Aquarius, which it's exalted. It works in what's its greatest strength there. So all of our intellect might be buzzing like crazy. Mercury has a lot to do with our intellectual process and how we express that energy. It's this Mercury is the messenger of the gods, has a lot to do with communication. So we've got this like genius energy that's retrograding. So it's almost time to like kind of reevaluate or rethink what it is you want to say, especially because Mercury is going to be conjunct Saturn, and Saturn works well in the sign of Aquarius as well. So these two are they're working okay together, except for that little retrograde energy. Time to get structured and think about what it is you want to move forward with your communication skills, or what it is you want to say, or how you want to arrange this business meeting, that sort of thing. Now, these guys are going to be in a square, like basically a tension creating connection up to Uranus in Taurus. Basically, it does create a lot of internal tension, but this is also creating like a blockage in our revolutionary changes here on Earth. That won't last forever. This square between Saturn and Uranus has been going on for quite some time, and there has been definitely a block in this change that we are all going through. And also this does, as I mentioned many, many times, this does have a lot to do. The sign of Taurus rules our money. Okay. It rules our monetary system, and Uranus is trying to bring very big changes to our monetary system. And this square going to Saturn is kind of creating a tension block right there. It's not really able to flow so nicely. Okay, so let's see here. What else? I did mention this, but I'm going to say it again. This Neptune and Jupiter going through the sign of Pisces. These are Pisces rulers. They do work comfortably there. This is a very, very spiritual energy. Maybe this is a good time for your first full moon ceremony. How's that for 2022? Start embracing Luna's energy for 2022. This has been probably the biggest game changer for myself over the last 4 years, amongst many, many other things. I also, as all of you been going through a very transformational process. Okay, so what's next? Cancer rules. Well, it rules the breasts. It has a lot to do with the upper part of the stomach, but it's like this energy that it does rule just this area of the body. And that is a good idea to pay a little extra attention to that part of our body. The sign of Cancer can kind of trigger issues with the breasts. Okay, that's one thing to take into consideration. Can also have a little bit of an influence on the lungs. So just pay a little extra attention to that part of your body while this full moon transits through that sign of Cancer. Some stones, gemstones that resonate well with the sign of Cancer. This is an important one for this recording, because the sign of Cancer, well, the dedicated zodiacal birthstone for the sign of Cancer is actually pearls, which I do have some pearls here. Not really my jam. I don't really wear pearls very much, but they are gorgeous. And they are also really good for digestive issues. Okay. I don't know how many of you know this, but years ago, I went through some very, very, very severe challenges regarding my digestive system. And I held on to these freshwater pearls, pretty much that whole process, to help balance everything out that was going through my digestive tract, and also just regular pearls. But then there's also moonstone. Okay. By the way, I'll probably put those pearls on top of my journal, because that's what I do for the new moons and the full moons. I write in my journal talking about either what I'm embracing or what I'm trying to manifest. And then I take my gemstones and I put them on top of my journal and put that outside for the full moon transit. But going back to these stones, moonstone, two different kinds of moonstone here. They are wonderful, and a lot of people will just call this Cancer's birthstone, although it really traditionally is pearls. But moonstone is wonderful. I love this stone for tapping into the intuition and really enhancing your intuition. However, moonstone can also heighten the emotions even more for people who are already very sensitive. You might want to be careful with moonstone, especially the white moonstone. That one's going to be even more emotional. But again, if you're looking to enhance your intuition, the moonstone is wonderful. If you really want to use moonstone for this full moon, then you might want to hold a piece of garnet as well. And I'm talking about like for your full moon ceremony, I always hold on to my gemstones when I'm having that process of tapping into those celestial bodies. Garnet is Capricorn's zodiacal birthstone. So, and again, Capricorn is opposite Cancer. So holding on to both might kind of balance out that energy. But also there's so many other stones that really do resonate well with this sign of Cancer. And as usual, I will leave a full extensive list of, I don't know, like 20 or 30 stones that I source from the Encyclopedia of Crystals by Judy Hall, and also some astrology books. But just to name a couple more here, this is carnelian, which I will probably wear this on the day of the full moon. It's just a little pendant here. Carnelian resonates well with that sign of Cancer, but it's also really good for calming the emotions. And it's also really good for transformational processes, and also really good for the reproductive system. And that's something I didn't really touch on, but the combination of the moon going through the sign of Cancer and the sun being conjunct Pluto does have a lot to do with our reproductive organs, and carnelian is a good one for that. But also, okay, now this stone doesn't necessarily go with the sign of Cancer, but I've been really feeling into it lately. In fact, I'm wearing my rose quartz earrings right now, but rose quartz is, light is hard to pick up on that. It's such a beautiful stone, and it's a really good antidote for the heightened emotions and also for the instability that's going on. You can kind of think of rose quartz as like a go-to for anything. It's a very, very peaceful stone. So if you're looking for something that's just a little more kind of like good for everything, rose quartz is a really good one, and very specifically for this full moon. Like I said, I've just been kind of like holding on to a piece lately because there has been a lot of very chaotic energy going on. Okay, so I will leave it at that. If you would like to schedule an astrology reading, please do go to my website. You can schedule right through my website, which is erinwageastrology.com. Or if you can't find a date in there and you're trying to, get a quick appointment, then just send me an email, because I am pretty booked out, but I can squeeze in like little 10-minute mood readings here and there. So you can also just send me an email, and I can try to squeeze you in an appointment before this full moon. And my email address is erinwageastrology@gmail.com. Okay, you guys, I do hope to hear from some of you. And I hope that you guys are getting through this very, very powerful energy that we are all experiencing right now with a little ease and grace, and flowing nicely through it. Okay, you guys, until next time, namaste to all of you.